What's going on, guys? Welcome to Steve Does Stuff. I'm Steve, and today we're going to be doing some truck maintenance stuff. So I drive a 2016 GMC Canyon, and these are known for having a bit of an issue with the intake valves loading up. This truck has the LFX in it that came in 2015 and 2016 in the Canyon, Colorado. These are particularly bad offenders. This truck is 5 years old. It's got 180,000 kilometers on it. And I have always used Mobil 1 synthetic oil. I've never put a catch can on it. I've done an intake cleaning once about 100,000 kilometers ago. So the curiosity finally got the better of me, and I wanted to see how bad this is. So let's go ahead and snap the intake manifold off and see what we're looking at. First things first, we gotta get this cover off. Cap off. Just squeeze both sides of these. Just gotta rotate. Oh God. Oh. This has got a T30 bolt here and here. Two 8mm bolts on the very back. There was only one 8mm bolt in the back. Not entirely sure why that was. Now we gotta get this airbox out of the way. So I'll start by unhooking the MAF. Roughly 4 flathead screws are gonna hold this puppy on. Yeah, there we go. So I'll be the first to admit that it's been a while since I changed this filter, but look at the junk in here. God, it looks like there's a mouse living in there. Frickin' ice cold beer. So the last thing to actually get the intake off is you need to unscrew the strap that hooks it to the throttle body. And with that, your intake is off. Quick shot of the underside to help you guys visualize. Time to take all this stuff off. I accidentally broke these cables, but there are a number of them along here. I was able to undo this one. There's another one over at the back. This, I believe, is an air intake temperature sensor, which you just unscrew that, unplug it. I have to assume this is something to do with an oil separator, so you just unscrewed that from the side. This guy, I believe you turn it and then it pulls up. And then beyond that, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bolts holding this thing on, and then it should just kind of. So a quick heads up on this one. This bolt is going to be too long to get a ratchet on it because there's that little ledge right above it. You're going to need to get an open-ended wrench on there to get it out. Or just use your hands, whatever. And the bolt's too long to even get out. Noted. So these back 3 are not coming out even a bit. They're way too long. And they're all gonna hit. Maybe, no, that one. So it appears that there are 2 bolts that are potentially holding this intake still on. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove those, and hopefully this thing comes off. All my bolts are out. You gotta definitely undo the 2 at the back. So it feels like there's a little bit of a lip in there, and I've already taken this off, but you gotta pull up in the front and then out. So you can see these 2 bolt holes in the back. The intake was attached to that, so when you lift it up, you have to kind of pull it out. Definitely have to undo those 2 in the back. So you can see it's pretty glistening inside. It just smells like oily gas. Not quite as bad as I thought it was gonna be. All right, so these are the intake valves. And I'd say they got some stuff on them. Ooh, that's definitely got some stuff on it. Whoa. Back one is the worst. Man, this stuff looks not good. Well, it's definitely open, but once again, not the best. So how I'm gonna clean it is kind of what I found online. I had this top end cleaner for a long time by SEAFOAM. You know, it says it's safe for direct injected, but based on the amount of stuff that's on the top side of those intake valves, I don't want that getting pulled through the motor, taking out a cat or a ring or a valve seat or anything like that. So I'm gonna make sure the valves are closed, spray a bunch of SEAFOAM in it. I've then got a variety of different diameter copper brushes. This is a gun cleaning kit, but I've heard from people who've done this online, this is a great way to do it. You know, you soak it in there for, you know, however long. Copper's a nice soft metal, so it's not gonna scratch up the valves or anything like that. And very lightly, very delicately, this is how I'm gonna do it. So I'm gonna be starting on the very front cylinder driver side. I wanted to make sure that this is in fact closed before I blast it full of SEAFOAM. I'm gonna spray a little bit in there, double check to make sure they're still pooling on the top of the valves. Then we'll fill her up a little bit. We got some great pooling on the top there. So that is 100% what I want. I definitely do not want this going down into the cylinders. After the first treatment, it's honestly already looking better. It kind of knocked a lot of the chunks off. I'm gonna go ahead and fill this up and then fill the other cylinders up with this and kind of let it sit for probably like 20 minutes, half hour to really kind of eat into that stuff. This has got to be the worst offender. So this is the rear cylinder passenger side. I want to let this guy sit for probably about a half hour with this stuff on it, kind of intermittently giving her a scraperoo and kind of see what happens, just to let it do its work. It did the quick test on the first cylinder, but it's time to let these guys sit for a little while. 20 minutes in. It's looking pretty good. Might add a little bit more to each and every one of them, but it almost looks like it's clean, and I'm being very gentle with the agitation on this. So this is all that I'm really doing, very gently. Seems to clean it up though. Oh god. Still look like there's a lot of stuff on and around the valve seats. Overall, things are definitely looking better though. I would have to agree on that one. So first look, how much better? Not a ton. I'm gonna put more back in there, keep it soaking and keep scrubbing. Just trying to work around the valve, try and get around the back where I can, scraping this stuff off. I'm trying to not let this metal end touch anything, so I'm mostly dragging like that. These are certainly looking better. Some of the back ones, like these are far from perfect, but scrubbing in there with a brush, I think is doing a pretty good job. So I think that's the standard that I'm gonna look for going forward. I'm gonna blast these all out with air. Continue to suck them out though, but I mean, when we're going from that to that, I'm okay with that. This may seem crazy, but it's just easier. The motor's so far back in there. It's much easier to just sit down on the rad support. Progress has been a little slow, but we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 cylinders are done. Let me show you guys what we're dealing with. Front, mid driver, mid passenger. This is the rear passenger, so I just can't quite dig in and around the seats, and I don't want to either. I really don't want to mess things up, so now I'm going to put a breaker bar on the crank, roll this over because I need to close those 2 cylinders, give them a soak, and we're done. So I'm just trying to roll this puppy over. Oh yeah, I see her closed up right there. Perfect. Ooh. So for these 2 valves, I just use SEAFOAM. Like regular throw it in your gas SEAFOAM. And these ones came out much better. I didn't have to soak them or anything. It was maybe 5 minutes of soaking, maybe 5 minutes of soaking, scrubbing around with a brush. So I'm gonna hit the last cylinder with SEAFOAM. So it is a few hours later, but we're done. We're done scrubbing those valves. The intake cleaner from SEAFOAM really wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. I ended up just using regular SEAFOAM, and you didn't need to let it soak for almost any time. Just start going at it with that copper brush, and it knocked the stuff right off. A little tough to clean around the seats. I didn't want to get in there, so the edges of the valve are still got a little bit of crap on them, but check out how much better these valves are. So I know compared to like a regular, you know, multi-port injection motor, that may not be that nice, but they are looking much better. Still got crap on them, but I don't know that you're ever really going to be able to get that totally off. All better. And better again. So now that those valves are clean, it's time to put everything back on and pray to God that nothing is wrong. A little smoky on startup there. So I'm back. I took the truck for a ride. It just feels normal, which is a huge relief. Because I don't have to buy a new truck now, which is awesome. It felt more or less the same. I'm tempted to say it felt peppier, but I'm sure that's just the placebo effect. It was really smoky when I started it up with all the crap just still sitting on the valves, but it smooths right out. I haven't noticed the stumble, which is common with these trucks, but I haven't really driven it very far. I'm not sure if I forgot to tighten something under the hood or... So that's going to do it for this episode of Steve Does Stuff. I hope this helps, you know, Canyon, Colorado owners out there. Thanks very much. See you next time, guys.